Continue now. 3, 2, 1, go!
This is a racing arcade game, which I like. I like arcade racers. I like the Ridge Racer. I like the Cruisin' USA. It's based on the Fast and Furious movie franchise, which, confession time, I've never seen a single Fast and Furious movie all the way through. I've seen bits and pieces.
I don't think I can continue doing this podcast.
I've seen bits and pieces, but I've never sat.
You've never seen Fast and the Furious 1?
No, not all the way through.
Or Tokyo Drift?
I know. That's the one that really hurts. Never experienced one of these movies all the way through, but it doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter. It's just
so you didn't give a shit when he died, did you?
It's not. I don't have anything against Paul Walker, right?
I think you do.
This was not my scene. You know, when these movies came out, I wasn't a gearhead, right? Like, I was a nerd. I was a nerd at home.
Okay, so like you weren't into like driving.
I'm not in that culture, right? But I played Need for Speed Underground 2, so I've got some parallel interests here. But it doesn't matter. This is just branding on an arcade game that's all about driving. And really, if this is what these movies are, the absurd zero gravity bullshit that you do in these games, in this game, calls to mind like the Cruisin' USA 90s era arcade stuff, where you are jumping off of impossible heights and cliffs and doing all sorts of tricks, racing through these big themed levels that don't really seem like they're part of reality. They've got like, you know, they're real life locations, Thailand or whatever, but there's no way that it's just very exaggerated. It is incredibly simple gameplay. You basically just boost, turbo, get a couple power-ups, go from point A to point B, and try to get first place. It is structured like an arcade game where you start at the beginning, you work through your 8 tracks. Once you've gotten through your 8 tracks, you're done. You can clear this game in one sitting. When you finish it, you get like extreme versions of the levels, so you can go back through it again. There's a little bit of replayability, but there is very little meat on the bone of Fast and Furious Arcade Edition. But with that said, it really does call to mind that mid-90s arcade experience, which is quite enjoyable. A game like a Ridge Racer, you know, that came out, that had like, what, 1 track with 3 difficulty variations. So this is kind of how these games have always been made. This is not a Need for Speed. There's not a lot of depth here. This is absolutely an arcade game. It's flashy, it's bright, it's something you'd pump some money into at a Dave & Buster's for a half hour and call it a day, but this is a home edition. It's a good laugh. It's a good romp for sitting down for a little bit, passing the controller around. It's like an Extra Life kind of game, right? Have you ever experienced one of these games that's kind of like a one-session, one-off experience where you're like, okay, I did that. It was fun. I ain't ever going back, but I appreciated my time with it.
I'm going to throw a massive curveball at you right now.
Okay.
I just played this game.
Did you really?
I went to a arcade in Chicago called Elston Electric. It's attached to a music venue called the Salt Shed. If you're in Chicago, you absolutely know the Salt Shed, as it's been over the last couple of years a up and coming like venue, very popular and not very large, very intimate like experience. But I've been to the Salt Shed for concerts, and right next door there's a bar arcade, and it had Fast and the Furious Arcade Edition, and I played it just last week, and it was yeah, like this Cruisin' USA, like Hydro Thunder, like ish thing. What's interesting about the actual arcade version when you're playing is the screen is very vertical. Like it's almost like 16 by 9, but 9 by 16, where they have the 2 racers next to each other in the full cars with force feedback wheel and full pedals, and you're in the car, and you're looking up at the screen. An interesting thing when you're playing the arcade in person is it takes a picture of you
Yeah.
and it puts the circle of your face. So when you're racing next to your opponent, when they pass you up, you see like their face, like a picture that they had taken in the beginning, like right along with their car, which was
Yep.
interesting. I thought the aspect ratio was interesting, but I walked away with the same impression as you, that the gameplay was incredibly simplistic. I felt like I didn't even have to really steer. Like,
Yeah.
you almost bounce off the walls and continue forward because they're prioritizing speed so much. They do not want you to get hung up. It's just go, go, go. And it was so rudimentary, so basic, so it was over before it began. Basically, I was
Yeah.
like, oh, that was it. That was the thing. So the only reason I would play this game was to experience, the force feedback wheel in person, because that's the fun part of it. But I, as a game, cannot imagine playing a console or PC like based, version of this. It's very odd. They're definitely trying to milk this.
Yeah, it definitely loses a lot without that arcade experience of the light and
Yeah.
the sounds, and you got a drink, and you're racing against your buddy, and
Oh yeah, I was severely drunk at the time.
the
yeah.
cabinet and all that stuff. It loses a lot of that. I cannot recommend anybody paying money for this, but I would assume that it will end up on some sort of service at some point, right, for free.
Yeah,
and
when
if you have
when
a
you fill up
weekend-
your tank of gas at the Shell, they're gonna be giving away codes
It's
for this with a full tank of gas.
it's not that it's not fun, because there's just
It's just
something
basic.
like turn off your brain. I'm running, I'm racing, I'm crashing, I'm speeding, I'm boosting, I'm hitting turbo at the right time, I'm finding it's got shortcuts and stuff, so it's not just the track. There is, I won't say strategy, but there's decision making that you're doing as far as which, fork in the road you want to take, kind of thing. But there's very little replayability. Once it's over, there's no calories here. There's no substance. It is all just sugar. It is just sugar gaming.
There's nothing about this game that is in particular fast and furious.